Hello, my witchy friends. It's Figbury ASMR, and I heard that you've been having a little bit of trouble sleeping. So I've brought out my comfiest, coziest blankets and my finest autumnal flannel sheets, and I thought that I might read to you one of my favorite collections of witch poems. Now, this is a collection from 1976, and it's edited by Daisy Wallace and illustrated by Trina Hyman. And there's 18 poems in here, and I'm going to read you every single one. So hop into something cozy or get comfortable, and let's look at some witchy poetry together. So on the cover, there's this illustration, which is also inside the book itself. And it's of this witch peering through these tangled branches. And she's looking over here. And you might be wondering, well, what is she looking at? Well, it wraps around the cover here. And on the other side, there's two children running away from the witch. But we'll see them again in a moment. So let's just open up the book and look. And if you're new here and you like witchy things, please subscribe and join the coven. I'm a witchcraft historian and do lots of videos like this, but we're all a very friendly bunch. We'd love to have you. So here's that same witch that we see at the beginning of the book on the cover. And she's facing away. She's walking away here with her walking stick at her side. And she's got her feline familiar here as well, with its little tail wrapped around her walking stick. And there's little tree branches that sort of weave in and out of the shot. So I think that this is a mountain ash or a witchwood tree, which would make a whole lot of sense, wouldn't it? And you'll see there's a lot of tree imagery in this book. I love the Victorian style of like inked or pencil illustration. And there's also a little lady lounging over here on this tree branch. It says the publishing house, which is Holiday House, New York. And there are so many little cobwebs interweaved within the branches. Okay, so we may as well flip the page. And here's our table of contents, our dedication, and our copyright. The dedication says, "For my mother, who is a most remarkable woman." And in the center we have what kind of looks like corn stalks. But there's an old woman here and a lady here, and they're both touching these little strands of cobwebs. And here are all of the 18 poems, just listed as they are. So we'll proceed through them all, starting with this one. So this is the same illustration that we see on the outside of the book, on the cover, except it's in black and white. So it's not watercolored or filled in with that blush pink and red sort of tone. But we still see the children running away from the witch here. It's just that they're fully in the illustration. And it starts with a short litany. So this is an anonymous poem. From witches and wizards and long-tailed buzzards and creeping things that run in hedge bottoms, good Lord, deliver us. And I suppose she here is the creeping thing that runs in hedge bottoms. But I love the way that the illustrations occupy so much of the page. It's really beautiful. Okay, the next one is called The Witch's Ride. And we have this huge sort of conglomeration of witches moving forward towards the poem and also towards the moon. And there's more of those very spooky little trees at the bottom. And there's some hills and a body of water, which is reflecting a moon. And this poem reads, over the hills where the edge of light deepens and darkens to ebony night, narrow hats high above yellow bead eyes, the tatter-haired witches ride through the skies. Over the seas where the flat fishes sleep, wrapped in the slap of the slippery deep. Over the peaks where the black trees are bare, where bony birds quiver, they glide through the air. Silently humming a horrible tune, they sweep through the stillness to sit on the moon. And this is by Carla Cuskin. So this is them sweeping through the stillness to get to the moon over here. Goat and all moving like one coordinated bunch. I mean, perhaps the witch's ride is about a coven. I haven't a clue. Okay, the next poem is called Curses. It looks like there's two, which are like a call and response. And this is by Michael Patrick Hearn. And it goes first with the first witch. Ragwort, tansy, parsley, pea, you'd better stay away from me. Purple pumpkins, crabgrass green, you're the ugliest thing I've ever seen. Bumble, grumble, mumbledy-peg, let a worm crawl up your leg. Brooklyn needle, Jersey pin, let a snail sit on your chin. And then she goes, yeah, kind of like a utterance of contempt. And then we have a second curses. So the second witch says, oh, pickle water, penguin toes, let your nose grow like a gardenia grows. 6 times 6 and 2 times 2. Let your hair turn blue. Let it stick like glue. And if you think that's bad, if you think that's bad, if you think that's bad, here's something worse. You'll never get free of my witch's curse. So, there. So these witches are having a little bit of playful banter between the two of them, and it looks like this is set in New York. There's this like cityscape sort of implied. So I love everything that she's carrying, these shopping bags, and she has these bizarre shoes, this big coat, and this giant peacock feather in her cap. And the signpost is what signals to me that it's meant to be like a city scene. Oh, and of course there's an excerpt from Macbeth. They've named it The Making of a Charm, but this is from William Shakespeare's Macbeth, Act 4, Scene 1. And there's this lovely cascading series of illustrations that moves from one side of the page to the other. They all blend together where the cauldron is boiling over here. And it goes, round about the cauldron go, in the poisoned entrails throw, toad that under cold stone, days and nights as 31, sweltered venom sleeping got, boil thou first the charmed pot. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn and cauldron bubble, fillet of a fenny snake, in the cauldron boil and bake, eye of newt and toe of frog, wool of bat and tongue of dog, adder's fork and blind worm's sting, lizard's leg and howlet's wing, for a charm of powerful trouble, like a broth boil and bubble. Double, double, toil and trouble, fire burn, and cauldron bubble, cool it with a baboon's blood, then the charm is firm and good. So if you've never read Macbeth before and you're curious about Shakespeare, but you're also like me and you adore witches and the history of witchcraft, even just reading the witch scenes will give you a lot of insight into how witches overtook popular culture, how they were perceived from the Renaissance onward. A lot of phrases from Shakespeare have made their way into our vernacular, and I mean double, double, toil and trouble is one of the most common ones used around Halloween time. But how much do you want to bet that this is the eye of newt, the wool of bat and tongue of dog, the adder's fork and blind worm's sting, the lizard's leg and howlet's wing, in this lovely little simple, this ointment of some sort that's coming out of this jug and making the cauldron go poof, poof, poof. So one of my favorite excerpts in this book. Okay, so let's turn the page here. Oh, I love this illustration. So there's this older woman, and she's on this side, and then this younger woman on this side, and they're like intertwined in the middle seam of the book here. So, Witches' Spells is what it's called, and this is by L. Frank Baum, who also wrote The Wizard of Oz, if you are familiar. And this is called Mistrust's Incantation. A rigmarole, a rigamaree, jiggernut, joggernut, cue, jiggery, simmerkin, sammerkin, semmergaroo, zillipop, zellipop, lollipop, loo. So kind of like Alice in Wonderland with a little bit of like gibberish, but I love gibberish style poetry. And this one's called Mounting Their Broomsticks. Horse and haddock, horse and go, horse and pelotus, ho, ho, to raise a wind. So these are things that witches would say as they're performing different tasks or casting spells. I knock this rag upon this stain to raise the wind in the devil's name. It shall not lie till I please again. And to make their enchanted horses fly through the sky, toot, toot, throughout and a boot. I think it's meant to be pronounced a boot, which is hilarious because it sounds like a Canadian accent, like a stereotypical Canadian accent, but the pronunciation is kind of funny. Maybe it's tout, tout, throughout and about, but I'm not entirely certain. Okay, so the next one is called Wild Witch's Ball, and this is an absolutely like lush illustration. I would love to see this in color just because it's like hard to distinguish everything that you're looking at when it's in black and white. But it looks like these witches' faces are making a tree. See how they're kind of like arching outwards as though these are the limbs of a tree? I love that so much. And then there's this little boy, I think, that's running away rather urgently from the scene. But there's a lot of faces here. I love it. So this is by Jack Prelutsky, and it's called Wild Witch's Ball. Late last night at Wild Witch Hall, we witches held our Wild Witch Ball. In every size and shape and weight, we witches came to celebrate. 10 tall crones with moans and groans battled in barrels with bats and bones. 9 queer deers with pointed ears dangled and swang from the chandeliers. Witches 8 with mangy tresses danced with 7 sorceresses. Witches 6 in shaggy rags played toss and tag with 5 old hags. 4 fat bags took healthy bites from parts of 3 unsightly frights. 2 fierce furies dug a ditch and tumbled in 1 lumpy witch. My goodness. There were witches squeezed in every nook, whichever where you cared to look. How many witches can you see at our annual Wild Witches Spree? Well, let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, 28, 29, 30, 31, 33, 34, 35, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40, 41, 42, 43, 44, 45, 46, 47, or somewhere thereabouts. I think I might have missed 1 or 2. It's because it's very difficult to count these ones. So That's the Wild Witch's Ball. Okay, this next one is called Lazy Witch. Lazy witch, what's wrong with you? Get up and stir your magic brew. Here's candlelight to chase the gloom. Jump up and mount your flying broom, and muster up your charms and spells, and wicked grins and piercing yells. It's Halloween, there's work to do. Lazy witch, what's wrong with you? That's by Myra Cone Livingston. And there's a lot of trees in this poetry book I'm noticing. So we have an owl coming out of a tree. We have a witch having a little nap here. And she's holding this broomstick, which looks beautiful. I love it. And a little bat, and she's leaning. It's also Witch's Baseball. The game's the same, but ghouls make the rules, and witches dig ditches to rescue wild bitches. On brooms they zoom to bases with faces, and pitches with twitches put batters in stitches. After each inning, the witches go swimming. And that's by Stephen Kroll, and it says Game tonight, Screaming Mimes versus the Black Sox. Trees are just in all of these. I love. Oh, there's a little gravestone as well. And look at her boots. I love. Wow, what a beautiful illustration. This one is called Witch Goes Shopping. Witch rides off upon her broom, finds a space to park it, takes a shiny shopping cart into the supermarket, smacks her lips and reads the list of things she needs. 6 bat wings, worms in brine, ears of toads 8 or 9, slugs and bugs, snake skins dried, buzzard innards pickled, fried. Witch takes herself from shelf to shelf, cackling all the while, up and down and up and down and in and out each aisle. Out come cans and cartons, tumbling to the floor. This, says Witch, now all a twitch, is a crazy store. I can't find a single thing I am looking for. By Lillian Moore. Wow, I love that poem. That's adorable because she's at a regular grocery store, so she can't find anything she's looking for in these shelves. She's just kind of stuck. So she's looking around and she can't find a single thing that she's looking for. And she's incredibly annoyed, of course, by the process because they don't have buzzard innards or slugs and bugs or dried snake skins or worms in brine. But wouldn't it be a nicer grocery store if it did? I also love that all of these people are over here and they kind of look like they're watching her. And she's the same witch that we saw in the beginning on the cover, with that long, like, sort of obscure dress that she's wearing. I just absolutely adore her. And what an amazing illustration. It's so detailed. And all of them seem to kind of carry on, like, around the poem, just barely making space for it. Okay, here's another food-themed poem. We have The Wicked Witch's Kitchen. You're in the mood for freaky food. You feel your taste buds itching for nice fresh poison ivy greens. Try Wicked Witch's Kitchen. She has corn on the cobweb cauldron hot. She makes the meanest cider, but her broomstick cakes and milkweed shakes aren't fit to feed a spider. She likes to brew a hot toadstool stew. Come eat my sweet, she'll cackle. But if you do, you'll turn into a jack-o'-lantern's jackal. Here are all of her cats at the bottom here, and one of them is climbing up her skirt. And there's a spider hanging off here. And I love that she's like opening up this little saucepan. And the garlic. Oh my gosh. Have any of you ever braided garlic before? It's such a fun thing to do. And look, it's strung up over here like that. Okay. So that one was by X.J. Kennedy, and this one is by Sonia Nicolay, and it's called Witch's Menu. Live lizard, dead lizard, marinated, fried. Poached lizard, pickled lizard, salty lizard hide. Hot lizard, cold lizard, lizard over ice. Baked lizard, boiled lizard, lizard served with spice. Sweet lizard, sour lizard, smoked lizard heart. Leg of lizard, loin of lizard, lizard a la carte. And there's this like amazing goblet that kind of looks like Baba Yaga and a little cat peering over the table. And this child sitting on a skeleton's chair. This is like my dream afternoon. I just want a witch to feed me her little potions and things and tell me about them. Oh, I love this illustration. That's so pretty. Oh my gosh. I only have a handful of poems left. The wee willy witchy of Whistlewood Way. I'm the wee willy witchy of Whistlewood Way, only 10 tiny inches in height. I dare to go out only during the day, for I'm frightfully frightened of night. And instead of dull black, wear a woolly white sack. I'm the wee woolly witchy of Whistlewood Way. I'm the wee woolly witchy of Whistlewood Way, but my witchery doesn't work well. Though I fix up a mix of elixir each day, I have seldom cast one single spell. I find little success, all my magic's amiss. I'm the wee woolly witchy of Whistlewood Way. I'm the wee woolly witchy of Whistlewood Way. I'd be better off staying in bed. My attempts to turn tin into gold go astray. I turn tin into tinsel instead. Though I'll never get rich, I'm one wonderful witch. I'm the wee woolly witchy of Whistlewood Way. And that's by Jack Berlutsky. And there's like a little dancing sprite of some sort and mushrooms on this tree. We have Old Mall here, which is by James Reeves. There's this dark figure with a little cauldron. The moon is up, the night owls scritch. Who's that croaking? The frog in the ditch. Who's that howling? The old hound. My neck tingles, my elbows itch. My hair rises, my eyelids twitch. What's in that pot, so rare and rich? Who's that crouching in a cloak like bitch? Hush, that's Old Moll, they say. She's a remarkable old party. Oh my gosh, look at this page. This is by Felice Holman, and it's called Halloween Witches. And this is a lot like the other poem we saw with like the visions of witches kind of descending upon the scene. Halloween witches, magical prognosticator, chanting, canting calculator, exorcist and necromancer, beneficial Sabbath dancer, striga ardent and capricious, conjurer and maleficious. Tonight, how many witches fly, how many brooms will sweep the sky. Wow, that's gorgeous. I absolutely love that one. This one's called Poison Ivy. A wicked witch is miserable scratch, and its trouble she grows in her garden patch. And her garden patch lies all around, for she grows poison ivy. This is poison ivy, this is accurate. By ditch and fence she leaves her trail as she sows her seed. Over hill and dale, and her crop of mischief can never fail, for she grows poison ivy. So listen, my children, take heed and be good, and if ever you roam through a tangled wood, or follow a road to some lovely day over the hills and far away, please keep out of the garden patch, sown and grown by miserable scratch, or its trouble you will surely catch, for she grows poison ivy. And that's by Catherine Gallagher. And I think this, it's our second last poem. Look at this beautiful illustration with her hair winding around this individual. There's little gremlins and frogs, and wow. So it's called Hist Whist. Hist whist, little ghost things, tip-toe, twinkle-toe, little twitchy witches and tingling goblins, hop-a-nob, hop-a-nob, little hoppy happy toads and tweeds little itchy mousies, with scuttling eyes, rustle and run and hide, whisk. Whisk, look out for the old woman with the wart on her nose. What she'll do to you, nobody knows. For she knows the devil, the great, green dancing devil, wee. That's a poem by E.E. Cummings, one of my absolute favorite poems, and I think there's more about witches, but this is the one that I grew up knowing a lot about when I was a kid, hearing it recited by my mom in particular. And here's the last one, and we see this lady that's kind of been around for the entirety of the collection, but now she's turning away from us with this little ghoul or goblin in her basket, and our black cat familiar following her. The witch, the witch, the witch, the witch. Don't let her get you, or your aunt wouldn't know you the next time she met you. And that's by Eleanor Farion. Alright, so those are all of the poems in this collection. If you're new here and you've enjoyed this video, I'm a witchcraft historian and I love sharing my knowledge, and I'd love for you to join the coven and subscribe to the channel. We are a friendly and welcoming bunch. And I hope that you have a very restful, peaceful sleep, and I'll see you again very soon.